Welcome to my Digital Humanities portfolio. My name is Megan Glenn, and I'm going to be reviewing my lesson plan on Americans and the Holocaust. I decided to create a lesson plan for this assignment because I'm interested in museum education as a career, so I thought that creating a teacher's guide to an online exhibition where teachers could have a lesson plan on how to interact with the space with their students would be helpful for my future goals. So I have developed a pre-activity before getting involved in the assignment. So there's a little bit of information for instructors to tell their students about the Holocaust before they move in, to a class-wide discussion where they talk about what they know about the Holocaust and what they think Americans knew about it in the 1930s and 40s, and talk a little bit about the history just to get them warmed up to the idea. The next part is the first major part of the assignment, which uses History Unfolded, a database from the Holocaust Memorial Museum. I also have instructions on registering for an account for students and educators. So History Unfolded is a database of U.S. newspapers about the Holocaust. So students can go in and look at newspapers that are already there and also upload newspapers from their hometowns or that they find that have some kind of reference to the Holocaust from the 1930s and 40s. So for the first part of the assignment, they're going to be looking up small, more local newspapers, staying away from big cities, and trying to see what their reporting was like of the Holocaust. Was there not a lot of it? Was there a lot? What were they focusing on? Were there certain events they were more interested in? And so on. For the next part, they'll be looking at large metropolitan newspapers like the Los Angeles Times. Each group will be assigned to a different major newspaper. And I have some suggestions in the guide, and they will be going through and looking, using the database associations and looking through to find newspapers about the Holocaust from that paper. So coming up with 2 or 3 examples of instances where these papers talk about the Holocaust. So what I want the students to be doing is asking themselves questions about the types of reporting going on in both of these newspapers. Is it different between the small newspapers and the large newspapers? If so, why do they think that is? Are the results different than what they might have expected at the beginning? After they've done doing their research on History Unfolded, they come back together. They do a research as well. This is less of the focus, but more of time to also compare and get a better side-by-side perspective of comparing different major events, the Night of the Broken Glass, the Voyage of the St. Louis, within these smaller large newspapers, and see how the reporting has changed, if it's changed, or if the coverage is the same. Then students get back together in a group and they discuss what they found, why they think that is, and just kind of have a discussion about the information that they've located and a discussion about primary source material and how they've used it in their research. Then the next part is using Americans and the Holocaust, which is through the digital exhibit for the physical space that's at the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. So students will be divided into groups based on their own interests. There's 3 topics we're going to be focusing on: Americans Who Dared, Political Voices, and Public Voices. So if they have a particular interest, they can choose one of those groups. Then they will go onto the American and Holocaust website and the personal stories and look through 1 to 3 of these different individual stories about people who made choices to help or to hinder relief efforts during the Holocaust, and look into their motivations and their explanations for why they did things. And each group has a few little questions to get them thinking and promote discussion. And once again, at the end, they come back together for a class discussion. I think that breaking the students down into smaller groups encourages the discussion. It gets them bouncing off ideas where all of their voices can be heard in 3 to 5 people, but then also coming back together as a class and bringing all those ideas in together can be really beneficial and present some ideas that other people might not have thought of. Then for the last part, there's a post-activity discussion, so kind of summarizing all of the ideas discussed in the lesson plan and looking forward into the future with it. So taking the things that they've learned here and applying them to the present and to the future, and how they can be more aware of what's going on in the world today. So it's kind of a global interaction piece. I also have additional resources, which are mostly links to the Holocaust Museum information, and then also some other books and information that is available if anyone's interested in looking more at the topic. And so that is it. I just wanted to really create a discussion heavy assignment because I know that's what I would be most interested in as a student compared to just being lectured at. And I wanted to involve a lot of different digital tools that are freely available to the public and have a lot of really interesting messages and just share that with students. Thanks.